And I'm like, whoa.
For the people that are asking in the chat, yeah, Jamie is part of a smaller ghost hunting group, and they do go out periodically, and they do try and get this stuff on camera. And they got all the
group that I have is it's a group on Facebook too. I don't have the link to it on here, but I will link it in the description, or I'll link it on my page, my YouTube page if y'all subscribe or whatever. But I have a YouTube group called Fifth Wall Paranormal. What's that say? Let's see.
Feet don't fail me now.
Yeah,
when you took off
running. Telling you, man, that was a trip. That day, that was a little bit bonkers. When I seen that happen, and it was the middle of the day, and then all of a sudden the whole area turns dark. That's a little scary just for that. But then when you turn and you see this vision of like silhouette of a lady with no head and two big ass dogs coming at you, you're like, holy crap. And I forgot to tell y'all, those hellhounds have bloodshot red eyes. Like they look, I mean, it was just.
I mean, I was ran too. I'm not laughing because you ran, but the whole time I was running, my mind would have been like, what's going on right now?
Mine was. And then that's why I went back years later, because I wanted, it intrigued me that much. Plus, not to mention the fact that when I was like, I don't know, I was probably a freshman in high school. I stayed with another one of my cousins, Brandon, at a apartment he used to live in, him and his mom and his dad. And, we was hanging out. Me and him was, listening to music and playing cards and, just chilling. And because he was young then, he was like 10, 11 years old. So he wasn't doing nothing major. I mean, we were just, goofing off. And he wanted me to hang out with him that day, so I stayed all night with him. Well, about 3 a.m. that morning, I get up to go to pee. Well, he had these like big old huge like windows, like those real long windows where they had to get those extra long ass curtains to fit them, like on where you lived back in the day, up on 10th Street. Remember how them windows were? Y'all had to have them super ass long curtains. Well, anyway, so I get up, I go to get up, I turn over and I see a silhouette of like a woman, and she looked like she was crying in the window, and the curtain was kind of pulled back like she was looking at something.
I'd be out at that point.
So,
I'm gone.
So I just turned back over and went back to sleep. I said, nope. I said, I'll wait till tomorrow. I said, if I piss on myself, I'm okay. Luckily, I didn't. Luckily, I held it until morning because I wasn't getting up.
The ghost hunting
thing. I didn't know what was going on.
You said it's called the Fifth. What now?
Yeah, Fifth Wall Paranormal.
Fifth Wall Paranormal.
Yeah.
What does a typical ghost hunting deal look like when y'all go out for the night or for the weekend or whatever? You just meet up in the same vehicle. You got equipment, like.
Yep.
Then what? Walk me through the entire process, because I've seen the stuff on TV, but I don't know how real that is. You know what I mean?
That's pretty accurate. What you see on TV is pretty accurate, but like say Ghost Adventures, that show, they add shit, like sounds and stuff, and plus they put music in there to overlap what you hear. You see what I'm saying? But then when they go to the enhanced audio, that's where they kind of tweak stuff and make up crap. You see what I'm saying? Remember, they got caught for that. Like their second or third year, they got caught for it. Well, then they stopped doing all that. And now it's more of a ghost hunting show, actually. You actually hear the stuff when it comes up. You're like, what the crap was that? When they react, you can react to them too, because you hear the same things they do. You're not hearing an enhanced version where they tweak it and make it their stuff. Well, with mine, say like you get up there, with the first one, me and Brandy did, she did like a bunch of research on like the whole Dora Highway, which technically where that graveyard was, there was a plant up there called the Dora plant, which it did all kinds of different things. They made like scrap metal stuff. They did all kinds of different things because they had like big old huge metal like magnets and stuff. Well, we did the research for that, so we tell a story. You know, you give like a story of where you're at. You know, kind of like a just a run through of what the the people there and that kind of thing. We even did research on some of the names, like of who was in the cemetery, and she found out that one guy worked at that Dora factory, and he was just walking through one day, going home after he got off work, and there was this big old huge magnet above his head, and like on a crane or whatever. Well, the magnet come off and killed him. It flattened him. Like it was a 600-pound magnet, and it just dropped onto his head. So you go give those kind of stories and stuff, and then you go into go back. Then you go back at night, after dark, and you start the investigation, and then you just give ideas of what you're doing. Like hold on a second, I'll show you something.
Oh, you better come back with clothes on, son.
Oh yeah, I got you. Now you like this right here. See, it's a little ball, but if you turn it on, well, I don't know if it's gonna work. I may have to change the batteries in it. It may have died. But anyway, it's touch censored. So if you touch it, it flashes like different colors. It flashes like multiple colors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's dead. Anyway, so you would set it down. You would set it on the ground like this. Well, if any ghost or whatever, breeze or whatever, if something blows it, it's not going to cut on. But if something actually touches it and makes it move or rolls it, it's going to light up. Well, you can put that down.
With the equipment. Because I watched a video over on your channel, and you and Brandy was talking about a spirit box, full spec cameras, infrared lighting. How expensive is all this stuff for a ghost hunt group?
It depends on what you get. The camera I got is a 4K camera. I got it from Amazon. It wasn't but like $99. Now the full spectrum camera was like $150. But then you go into the spirit box. The spirit box cost me like 90 some bucks. But basically what it does, it just channels through radio stations, but it's all of the ones that don't have anything on it. And then you ask questions, and then it comes up in the white noise. You can hear voices.
I'll tell you something.
It's crazy.
You and Jack, for those that don't know Jack, they used to have a channel called the Outlaw Preppers. You two together, and Jack actually made a comment at one time because he doesn't like this kind of stuff. He thinks angels and demons, and he said that boy is going to end up bringing something back home with him. You ever worry about that, man?
No, because I have a protection card.
What now?
A protection card. Basically, hold on, I'll show you. Give me a second. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into this. I don't see it anywhere.
Chad, I'm sitting here watching to see if we see a ghost come down the steps while he's over there digging through his underwear drawer.
No, I wasn't digging through that drawer.
Oh, you can hear me?
But I forgot where it's at. I forgot where I put it.
If it's a protection card, I need that, brother. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Basically what it is, you take
does it work with things and all them, or just spirits?
Now, do what now?
Does it work with Antifa and all that? Okay.
Nah, I wish it would. That'd be great, but nah. It's only protects you against like spirits. But No, Brandy actually fixed that card for me. She's a what they call a pagan, not
Really?
not the biker group kind of pagan.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, yeah, she's what they call a pagan, which they delve in like uh kind of like alchemy or whatever. And you mix like different like oils and stuff, and you apply it to the card, and I carry it with me, and it protects me from any evil spirit because it's blessed by like a shaman.
So, for those in chat, Caveman, if you're interested in this stuff, I know some people are. Caveman James, your channel's gonna be perfect. Some people are
Oh
like, "No,
yeah,
I don't want none of that smoke." You know,
right.
it's it's.
Some
I
people
guess it's an acquired
are into
taste.
it,
You
and
know what
some
I mean?
people aren't. It's a required thing, or like a something you either like it or you don't. It's one of those deals. You either get interested in it, or you might take a peek and be like, that's okay, but I don't really, get it. And then some people are just like, dude, that's crazy.
I don't know anything about this stuff, so I'm learning, I guess, as we go.
Yeah, yeah,
Switching over now, man, for a second. Tell me about Bigfoot, because I know you're into Bigfoot. Maybe some people in
right.
chat as well. You're big
Uh,
time into Bigfoot.
oh yeah. Uh, there's a lot I could tell you about Bigfoot. Uh, shoot, probably to the date, there's probably been, I don't know, 5 or 6 million sightings of him just in the Northwest alone. Because any kind of like, if you ever watch any kind of Bigfoot show or whatever, and if they ever show a map of like where he's at, all over the map, you'll see like a bunch of little red dots. Like if they do it on like the History Channel or Discovery or something, sometimes they'll bring up like a map. There used to be a show called Monster Quest that come on History
I've
Channel.
seen it. I've seen it, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, when they did the Bigfoot episode, they showed like a map, and then they would be like spots, like little red dots that come up on the map to where he's been seen. Well, the Pacific Northwest is almost covered in dots. And then you've got sightings here in Virginia. You've got sightings in West Virginia. You've got sightings in Ohio. And they're all called different things, but it's all the same thing. It's all Bigfoot. Some of them, like in Ohio, you got the grassy man, which they say he stinks like raw sewage. But it's just because, where he's always in the damp, all this stuff just makes it nasty.
Thank you, J954. I try and mix it up over here, and this is something again. Thank you for that. This is
Yeah,
again these topics I know very little, if nothing,
yeah,
about, and so I'm
right.
sitting here like literally. You were talking about the spirits and stuff.
Yeah,
My only exposure to that is like ghost hunters on TV or whatever. You
I
know,
get
so all this
it.
new.
Yeah,
I don't know what this equipment would even look like that Brandy was talking about. Bigfoot. I know very little, but I do have to make an admission here, James.
yeah,
Last time you, me, and Jack went camping,
right.
I walked in the woods with you for like an hour looking for Bigfoot because you were here knocking. You're like, hey, let's go walk, see what we can see.
Yeah, we
And
jumped
I didn't
into
really
it.
want to do it because it was
Jack
Jack.
said,
I knew it was
"What the
Jack
hell?
knocking
We're
on
gonna
the
get
tree.
killed."
Yeah, he was the one knocking on the tree, though. He was messing with
Oh,
you, and I got roped into going through the woods with you.
hey, it's all good. Hey, sometimes you hear that shit and you just gotta look.
He thinks it's hilarious, but you're seriously, you're like, it's out there. The Bigfoot are out there.
Yeah, it literally is. I mean, they may not been around where we were at, but yeah, there's some out there. I mean, there's been enough sightings and there's actually, if you go and watch the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is one they did in like 1968. It's an old film of a Bigfoot walking like in front of this creek. Well, they stabilized the video because it used to be real shaky. I mean, like the video used to like
Oh yeah,
all over the
yeah.
place. Well, when they stabilized it, you can watch when when Bigfoot walks. Everybody used to think it was a person in a suit because they had said it was. You know what I mean? Like they had talked about, like some guy had come up randomly and said, "Yeah, we did this for Patterson-Gimlin and blah blah blah, whatever," which is actually a lie. Because if you actually they stabilized that video, there's a little frame that comes up about this big, and it only stays to where Bigfoot's at. So it does nothing to the video. It just stabilizes the frame. It keeps it from, shaking. Well, when you watch it, you can watch the foot. And if you know anything about like chimps, gorillas, or whatever, they have what they call a mid-tarsal break, which their foot flexes in the middle. Like ours stays planted because we have an arch. Well, they don't have an arch. So they have that mid-tarsal break. Well, when you watch this video, you watch that ape's foot and its toes curl upward where the mid-tarsal breaks at. So they're real. If you watch that video, you can actually see it. I watched the documentary here the other day, I think. Can't remember. I think it was a History Channel video or something. But they were talking about that same thing, and that's what they were showing was that video, and they zoomed into the foot, and you could watch his toes curl.
I did see a documentary where they tried to replicate. They put a man in a suit.
Yeah. And tried to replicate that wall, and they couldn't do it.
Everything off of how tall it was, and
they couldn't do it,
and they couldn't replicate the walk.
No, because see, that's and in the video, that's a female, and they're only like 7 foot tall. The males can go anywhere from 7 to almost 15 feet in height. Like there was one video I seen, I think it was on the trail cam videos on YouTube. There's a trail cam video site like where they show that kind of stuff, and the Bigfoot was standing next to a tree. The tree was like huge. I mean, it was up here, and that Bigfoot stood about this tall, like up the tree. Like it was like, I'd say it was probably 10 or 12 foot tall. And I mean, it was huge.
There are a lot of probably hundreds of thousands of acres between the Pacific Northwest, parts of the East Coast, Canada.
Yeah,
that's just
and a lot of people used to say, and a lot of people used to say, well, heck, we should have seen them by now. Well, or somebody prominent should have seen them by now. But there's still species that they're just coming up with still yet. There was I can't remember. I think it was in the Amazon. They had found a new species of spider here not too long ago, like about 5 or 6 months ago. So, I mean, not everything's known. Like, look at the ocean. The ocean, we don't even know anything about it. We know more about space than we do the ocean.
Well, we'll get to the space stuff here shortly, but you're absolutely right. Tell me about the Appalachian now.
Like, technically, we honestly do. We know more about the outer space than we do the ocean.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because we're living right here where the ocean's at.
The Appalachian giants. What can you tell me about
that? Well, the name for them in the folklore that I read and that I know of, they're called the Nakwi. It's spelled N-O-K.
I'd never even heard of these things until a couple of days ago when you were telling me about it.
Right. Well, I just found out about them about 6 months ago. Like, it was the first time I'd ever heard of the story. I mean, I've heard a lot of folklore from around here, but not the giant story. They say that they were like, they actually wasn't mean. They were actually here to help. And they help humans do all kinds of stuff. But then I can't remember the whole story because I didn't read it far enough to like let it soak in. Plus, I've got it written down, but I've got the paper over yonder and I don't want to run and grab it. But they can, but no, those giants were like 15 feet tall. But they were malevolent beings. They were supposedly here to help us. And then I don't know what happened to them. I guess it was before, before Christ or something. And then when the floods come and all that crap, I guess it wiped them all out. But some people, I don't know if they're still, if people still say that they're around or not. But I haven't delved that far into their existence yet, because I just learned about them here not too long ago.
Well, we got to get into this now, and I'm going to tell you a story from one of our camping trips. I'm going to see if you remember it. I got it on video, but it's over in the Nation Plus members area, but I'm going to see if you remember this. So we were camping with Jack, and it was nighttime, and you were talking about Mothman. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
You brought up a picture of Mothman, and
Yeah.
Jack was laughing. He was like, man, every picture I see of Mothman, he looks like Fabio, and he's got a six-pack, and he's laughing. Well, I'm not kidding. I've never seen him act this way before. Not even 5 minutes later, Jack was telling us he had an uneasy feeling. Do you remember that? And he had his head lantern on. He had a flashlight out. He's like, everybody check to make sure you got a weapon or something. Like, he was legit freaking out.
He flipped out.
I never seen
I remember this. And I looked at him and I told him, Jack, I said, you don't talk about the Mothman.
And I went from laughing with him to, man, what's going on? For those that don't know Jack, he just don't act this way. You know what I mean? He was legitimately terrified.
He was legit scared. And normally Jack's not scared of shit.
Queen Essence, how are you? He said he had this uneasy feeling that he's never had before. You know what I mean? And he was scared to go to sleep. This is probably the first time he started talking about he didn't want to camp all night. I was like, what? What is this man talking about right now? Tell me about
that. That was when we were down at the dam that time.
Near the dam, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wanted to go home at, what was it? It was like 2 a.m. He was like, I'm ready to go home, y'all.
He was ready to pack up, and we're like, Jack, it's in the middle of the night, man.
He said, no, I'm ready to go home. And me and John both were like, dude, there's nothing to this. He was like, no, I'm ready to go home.
I've never seen him afraid ever of anything, dude.
No. And he said, I need to go see my son and this and that. And we were like, okay.
It almost, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but it's almost like when that one person on the movie Evil Dead starts freaking out. And the rest of the group is like, what? I was literally sitting around like, what is going on right now?
If you remember, though, that was the same night I told him. I was like,
it came from you bringing up Mothman.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, but if you remember when he started making fun of him, I said, you shouldn't say that, Jack. And then about that time, that's when he started acting funny.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
I told him, I was like, you shouldn't do that, Jack. And then the next thing, all of a sudden, he just started getting squirrely.
It's kind of hard to see if Nation Plus members, if you go over to the content page and click camping, it's back in 2019, I think, or something like that. But it's kind of hard to see because it was so dark outside. But you can see the headlamp and you can hear us talking about it. And Jamie's holding his phone up with Mothman on it and stuff. I mean, it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And now it's like pulling teeth trying to get him to go camping with us.
Yeah, he won't do it.
If you've noticed. Alfred, thank you very much. He said, seeing Caveman today on my birthday. Happy birthday. It's like seeing a dad that only comes on your birthdays and holidays. He's happy to see you, Caveman, in other words.
Hey, I appreciate that, bro.
Content.
Yeah. Hey, I will. Hey, I'm working on it, bud. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to get better content. I mean, I've got some stuff up now that I've done in the AI, like the AI kind of thing. Well, it's not really AI. It's more of just a text-to-speech kind of thing. It's like where I'll do my research and then I just put it in a text-to-speech editor and let it, give me the talking. But I think I'm going to start doing
people that are interested. Again, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but for the people who are interested in Mothman, what do they need to know? Because again, I know literally nothing about it.
Back in I forget what year it was. It was 1960s. I'm thinking it was closer to 68, 65, somewhere around in there. I don't know if y'all remember the Silver Point Bridge. If you ever, all right, hey, John, have you ever seen the Mothman prophecies
I've
with
seen it
Richard Gere?
like populate or be suggested on
Yeah.
Roku, but I've never watched
If
it.
you
No.
watch it, you'll get the sense of what happened. He tells it kind of goes into the story of the Mothman. But anyway, so there's a place in West Virginia called Point Pleasant. Back in like 65 to 68, I can't remember exactly what year it was. It's in that demographic, right? Well, anyway, they see this creature on this bridge, and they called him the Mothman because he had wings like a moth. He looked kind of like a moth, but he had the body of a man, so they called him Mothman. Well, he has the head of a moth and everything. Like, they've even got a well, you seen the photo I showed y'all at the campsite that night of the big steel looking, Mothman guy. Well, anyway, so they go on to, but anyway, to go back to the story, so in like 65 to 68, whatever year it was, Point Pleasant, there was a bridge that run through there called the Star Point, or the Silver Point Bridge or whatever. Well, they see him up on that bridge. Well, after they see him up there, there's cars going across it, and it collapses into the creek or the river or whatever was running under it. I can't remember exactly if it's a river or if it's a creek. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was a river. Well, it collapses into the river, and it kills like, I don't know how many people, but because it was a busy road. But the bridge just fell. Well, some people said that he was there to warn them about it. Other people said that he was there to cause it. So that's the story of the Mothman. And
PNW Prepper is asking you, do you have any paranormal podcasts that you listen to, like on the regular, or
yeah,
any channels to follow?
let me think here. Um, to be honest with you, and this is funny, but Joe Rogan's a good guy to follow for paranormal stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, that's no lie. He had Dan Aykroyd on one time, and they were talking about all kinds of different stuff. Like, they were talking about Bigfoot, they was talking about aliens, they were talking about ghosts. Like, his podcast is one of my favorites because he just had Bob Lazar on not too long ago, and that's a UFO guy. He worked at Area 51. Well, he worked in a part of Area 51. He's the guy that came out and said that aliens were real, and everybody said, "Oh, he's foolish." Well,
I know it.
now
Oh,
they're
go
kind
ahead.
of starting to believe him because of the fact that the government has come out and said, "Well, yeah, we've kind of been looking into this, and there's some odd stuff that we can't explain." But he's saying
At
that,
one point in time, we had talked about going camping,
yeah,
getting a big group together, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
some of us, like I would be live streaming from the campsite. Jack was going to be there, and a
yep,
few other people.
yep,
Roger Crowder, I don't know if you remember him or not. And then
yep,
um, y'all were going to go ghost hunting or whatever, Bigfoot hunting off to the side,
yep,
deep woods,
yep,
and try and film that as well. And then
yep.
after that, that weird incident with Jack camping, man, he didn't even want to do that anymore. I mean, it's
No,
crazy.
I don't know what the deal was with that, but apparently, the Mothman had something to do with it. Because I'll be honest with you, dude. After I told him, I was like, "You shouldn't talk about him like that." And the next thing I know, he started freaking out, like he had done
Yeah.
been visited by something.
And it's weird because I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see that happen with my own eyes. But I'm
Yeah,
like, this is nuts.
yeah.
And
Well, I
anytime I
wouldn't have.
bring up, yeah, Jamie's going ghost hunting, he's immediate like he doesn't need to do that. He's going to bring something back with him.
Yeah, yeah. He gets he gets terrified, man. Well, see, that's like the night that I went back after I was 12 years old when I was like 25. Me and Brandy went back, And that's when I figured out, that it was a witch and all this stuff. Well, her husband at the time, her ex-husband, her husband at the time, was standing over on the left side. Well, we were talking to a Ouija board, and it said that there was a witch. Well, then it said that it could hurt one of us. Well, about 10 minutes later, he's hollering, "Let's go." He said, "I don't know what the fuck happened. I got grabbed." He said, "I couldn't breathe."
Something I would never mess with, man. You know,
And he
I
said,
like listening
"We're
to you
leaving."
talk about this stuff, but I ain't messing with no Ouija board. I'm not going ghost hunt or nothing
No,
like
I
that.
never messed with the Ouija board. I just was, like, you put your hand on it, but you're not a part of it. The person that's telling or asking the questions is the one that owns it. I wasn't having no questions asked. They just asked all the
But
questions. The person that
Butch
owned
is
it.
asking about skinwalkers. Where do you
Oh,
fall on that?
yeah, those are actually in Native American legend and lore and folklore.
Yeah.
They
We
they
might as well
are.
go ahead and jump in. For those that don't know, James, he's not just into the paranormal. You're big time into the history of Native Americans
Oh
and
yeah, that's
legends
one of
that
my
they have and
passions.
stuff like that. Yeah.
That's one of my passions. John knows I built a website years ago on Angel Fire, and it was like the number one site for a long time. If you ever
Brother,
Googled anything about Native Americans, my site was the first one to pop up there at one time until Angel Fire got bought out, and then uh, they took my site down
see if you
and
remember this.
deleted it
I came to your
because I
house
can
for the
still log
weekend for
into it.
to sleep over. We were gonna have pizza and play Tecmo Super Bowl or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
I walk into your room and I was like 12 years old, man. I
yeah,
walk into your room and you literally had two things hanging up on your wall. You had a poster of Britney Spears, and then
yep,
over here you had a Native American painting with a wolf on it. Do you remember that?
yep,
And I'm like,
yep.
what the dynamic is crazy right now. What is going on here?
Yeah, yeah, dude, that was just that's just how it was.
Crystal Skull Vodka is Dan Aykroyd's, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got a brand called Crystal Skull Vodka. He even talks about the crystal skulls. That's where he got the idea for the vodka.
No, I didn't know that.
Him and Joe Rogan drink it on the podcast. He gives Joe Rogan like two different bottles. They're skull like glass bottles. They're glass bottles formed into a shape of a skull. And there's different ones. He's got one that's like multicolored. It's got like I don't know. It looks like it's been hand painted, like just by somebody doing this, smearing paint all over it.
So the Native American stuff, is that, I know you're deep into that. Is that separate or does that kind of tie into the paranormal and the unexplained at
They
some
can tie into they can tie into the paranormal. See, like the
How
Hopi
so?
Indians, the Hopi Indian tribe, they're like out west. They were like in Nevada area, kind of. Um,
Mhm.
like in the desert. They were kind of like a desert, uh, nation of Indians or whatever. But they believed in what they called star people, which were aliens. They said that they come down and visited them. That was their, you know what I'm saying? They said that,
The Native Americans call them star people?
yeah, the Hopi Indian tribe did. Yeah, they called them star people. They even made cave. There's even cave like hieroglyphs on that they drew of like it's like it looks like it's red. They painted it in red. It looks like a dude like he has like a helmet on and he's kind of like made out like and he's got his arms kind of out like this and they kind of like drew him this way and then he just got like a helmet on like he was breathing through a helmet and they called them star people and they said that they were coming back.
Um, Anything
Yeah,
else Native American
Bigfoot,
wise, history wise that you want to speak on
Bigfoot.
that's unexplained?
They
Bigfoot?
there's Bigfoot's tied into the Native American lore. Um, the Skinwalker, the Wendigo, which looks like a deer with a human body. I'll put it to you this way: you don't want to mess with a Wendigo. They're worse than a werewolf.
I
And you
wouldn't know
know
what
how
to do
big
if
a
I saw
werewolf is.
something like this. So you believe in werewolves too? I'm not
Oh
laughing
yeah,
about it. I'm asking.
no, yeah, yeah. There's
Somebody's
that's been
been asking.
documented
Yeah.
too. But a Wendigo has the head of a deer and antlers. They're about that photo I sent you yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm describing that. Basically, they look like a huge deer with a human body, but their arms are longer than their legs, as you noticed in the photo. But here's the funny thing: they can grow. They can grow. I'll put it to you this way: take it like if you put a 7-foot guy and made him 175 pounds, that's what a Wendigo would look like. Kind of like Manute Bowl back in the
I
day in
remember
the
this.
basketball. Remember how skinny
Yeah.
he looked,
The
but
problem
how
is,
tall he
anytime you
was?
send me a picture with no
Yeah,
context, I'm like, is this a monster?
yeah,
Did Jamie
that's a
send it over, or
Wendigo.
is this a girl he done met at work or something?
No,
You know what's
that's a
going on?
that's a Wendigo.
Okay.
But anyway, so you know how strong in movies and stuff or video games that a werewolf is, it can tear like a human's head off in like 2 seconds, right?
I mean, in
Okay,
the movies, yeah, I've seen stuff like this, but I've never seen anything
right.
like this in
That's
real
what I'm
life.
saying. Like in the movies or in a video game, they're pretty powerful, right? Or in the D&D community, they're like real strong. Well, put it this way: a Wendigo is like 10 times stronger than that. It can rip a werewolf's head off in 2 seconds. But they look like Manute Bowl, but they can grow to be like 15 feet tall.
And you've never seen any sort of proof of this, or this is
No,
just
that one I have never seen. I've
reading
never
and
seen a
stuff.
Wendigo. But there is a movie called Wendigo that you can watch.
Yeah, but that's a
Uh,
movie, man.
but it delves into that. It delves into the actual Wendigo and what they're
I'm one
all
of
about.
these. I'm one of these people where I try and be open minded. Like
Right.
anything is possible. I'm not
Yeah.
discounting anything.
But
But
you're
at the
also
same
in that
time,
same mold. You got to see it to believe it.
I got to see something before I'm
Yeah.
fully
You gotta
invested
you
in
gotta
it.
have
You know what I
a
mean?
right. Right. It's got to be experienceable.
Yeah.
But I get that. And I understand it.
No.
See, that's why I went into ghost hunting because I experienced that and I seen
Yeah.
it.
That makes sense to me, man.
And yeah. And the Bigfoot thing, the reason I'm big on it is because, well, I had something happen to me that kind of resembles what Bigfoots do. You know what I mean?
Who
Like when
was
I
she?
lived over in West Virginia. Uh,
Who was she, Jamie?
Nobody. Uh, this is back when I was living with my ex-wife in West Virginia for like them 5 months that
Let me just say
I
this real
put off.
quick. Let me give
Yeah,
some context here. The first time I ever went to West Virginia was with you and your mom, and I'm telling y'all right now, when he says this place is deep woods over there, sometimes I'll
that's
say on
me.
the channel, Deep Woods, West Virginia, bro, it ain't no joke. Your mom
Yeah,
still laughs because it gets so dark over there. I can
yeah.
remember there are no street lights
There's
over there in the
there's not
holler and stuff where you're talking
there's
about.
no street lights at all.
I can
Like
remember
in
walking
most of the
outside and
places
doing
that
this, literally this
yeah,
right here, and I couldn't see my hand in front of my face.
yeah.
That's how deep woods it is, man.
Oh
But go
yeah,
ahead. I'm sorry.
definitely. So anyway, we lived on her mom's well, it's her mom and her sister's homestead or whatever, right?
Mm.
We were staying there and so anyway, go me and her stepson, or me and my stepson at the time, the one I couldn't stand anyway. But we were driving up the driveway, right, to get back to the house. Well, about halfway up, out of nowhere, a rock hits the car, like the side of my door, like directly on the door. There was nobody around. We stopped the car, got out, walked all the way around the car. There was not even a mark on the car, but you could hear the rock actually hit the side of the car. Like I almost like it was so close I could even hear it like real loud at the door. Like it said, You know what I mean? Like it hit, but there was no mark. But we got to looking and there was nothing around. The only thing we could think of at the time, and we both looked at each other at the same time and said Bigfoot, and got back in the car and took off. And then it was snowing it had snowed like 2 days before that. And it was like
That's how
a foot
every
of snow
horror
on the ground.
movie that I've ever seen starts.
Do
Something
what?
hits the car and the people get out on a random road. Don't get
Yeah.
out. What are y'all doing? Did y'all have a gun or something at least?
Nah, man. Shoot. Not with Bigfoot. He's more scared of you than you are him sometimes.
You're hard to get a hold of. Let me say this right now, and Jack even laughs about this. He says, you're so hard to get a hold of that Bigfoot tries to get your picture. I'm always
Yeah.
like, hey, Jamie, let's hang out.
Sometimes that's
Jamie who?
true. Sometimes that's true.
So the
But yeah, we
paranormal and the
definitely got to get
unexplained
together
and
more.
all this is not your only interest, though. You
No,
also want to
no,
open a restaurant,
no.
for
I've
those
got
that
a
didn't
lot
know.
of interest. I love
You want
to.
to open a
I'm
restaurant. That's your dream, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. That's what I want to get started is a restaurant because that's the thing I've wanted to do since I was probably I don't know, shoot, probably since I left Dairy Queen. Like I've thought about that probably that long because I
You trained
when I was
managers
at
at
Dairy
Dairy
Queen,
Queen for literally 20 years.
yeah, and technically I trained every manager I had except for maybe two. In a 12-year period, I trained every manager I ever had, and I'm sitting there
What kind of
thinking to
restaurant? What
myself,
kind of theme? Would it be paranormal and unexplained or
no, no,
roadhouse? What do we?
no, I was looking. See, I'll put it to you this way. You know, Main Street Grill downtown here in where I live, right?
I know where it's at. I know where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's up for sale. The whole building, the equipment, everything. It's still running, but they're selling it as a turnkey business. That's what I want to buy, and then I'm going to go once I get it. I'll leave it the way it is for now. But once I get into it and, if I start making a profit or whatever, I want to take all of the hot bar and stuff out of it and make it like a sit down, come in, you order, we make it, we bring it out to you. It's hot and fresh, piping hot,
How
sitting on the
how
table.
much would it cost, like, to just buy the building and get everything up and running, though?
Uh,
Because I know
to do
you
it all,
probably looked into it. Yeah.
500,000, because the building's like $399.
It's
That's
like
all they want.
500,000. That's a lot of
Yeah,
money, homie. But I
yeah,
mean,
it
you got to
is,
have a dream. We all got one.
but it's a hell of an investment.
I loved working in restaurants, but kids today too hard to staff. Breakfast is
Yeah,
profitable in good hours for a family, man.
yep,
Seems to make sense. Thank you very much, Alfred. Seems
yeah.
to make
Thanks, buddy.
sense.
I
All
plan
right,
on doing
James.
something. See, that's what I want to do is something like that, but I want to make it to where, it's like I'm thinking of doing something like the restaurant I work at now. It stays open until 3 p.m. and then it closes. They're open for breakfast and lunch and part of dinner, but then they close at 3. So you get what I'm saying? Do it that
I
way,
do.
yeah. And then maybe once I get it built up enough, then I'll open it for longer hours. As I go along.
When it comes to prepping, because we have had this conversation
Yeah,
more than once,
yeah.
you're not the traditional prepper. You're
No.
not out here homesteading. You're not stacking gold and silver. You're not stacking survival food. Every time I ask you, what is your plan for surviving if something happens? You say, I'm going to bug out to West Virginia because you live like, what, 25, 30 minutes away tops
Yeah.
from West
Well,
Virginia.
an hour.
And you can
Total
get
an
deep
hour.
woods and you
Yep.
say,
Just
you
live
know where
off
the
the land.
spring water's at. You know where everything's at over there.
Yeah. I just live off the land.
Live off the
That's
land.
what I do. I mean,
You can fish. We know you can
yeah.
fish.
I can fish.
But
I know how to hunt.
there's an urban legend going around on that one, and I got to
What's
ask
that?
you about it since I got you here live. All right, so
Yeah.
you
What's
sent
the
me a
legend?
picture at one time, or you posted it on social media. I don't remember, but you had this huge freaking fish. This thing, I know you know what I'm talking about. This thing
Oh
was
yeah,
like
the
from your hip
catfish.
all the way down to your ankle, catfish. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Where did you catch it? And you were telling us. So
Claytor Lake.
yeah, so first of all, we go one night, Jack's with us, and you can't find the place where you caught it. Jack's
No,
like, what is
that was
going
the
on
funny
here?
thing. Cause see,
How
we
did you
went at
catch
night
the
that
walleye?
night. See, that's the thing. Cause and the funny thing was, the funny part about that was, it was at the boat dock that we kept talking about. The one we kept passing
Uh,
every time. That was it. But where we had
so
went that night, like the like where me and you and Jack went at night, we had went at night before. Well, that's why I kept missing it because I couldn't really tell where I was at. But then
right.
I went back like about a month after that or two, and it was
Mhm.
that same damn boat dock.
Well,
It was the one we kept
see,
passing
James,
that night. The one I kept telling you I was wrong on.
the plot thickens. Okay,
Yeah,
so several days after we got lost going fishing looking for this place you supposedly caught this fish from,
yeah.
Wally, I know you know Wally, right? He's a
Wally
mutual
Tommy.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey, my wife, she's like, look at this fish Wally caught. It's the same fish, Jamie. And you're
No.
standing in the background
Oh,
grinning ear to
hold
ear.
on.
And so I got to
Wait.
know who caught this freaking fish.
Hold on. Hold on. There was two fish caught that night.
Somebody's lying. There's no
Yeah.
way y'all caught two fish. Those things
Yeah.
were almost as long as my freaking
Yeah.
dish,
There was two of them. We caught two that night.
Jamie.
Yeah. We caught
That
two of
the
those that
catfish,
night.
their whiskers
I'll
were in
have
the
them.
same spot, Jamie.
I'll send you both photos.
They had a lazy eye, Jamie. It's the same fish. You
No,
kidding?
I will send you both photos. There's two different photos. There's one where a buddy of mine named Hunter's holding it up, and then there's one where I'm holding it up, and then there's one where Wally holding one up.
Who
But
caught Jamie?
we caught two different fish. One's about an inch and a half shorter than the other. Wally's was longer than mine.
Well, I guess the world will never know the truth.
No, that is the truth. Actually, I'll
Okay,
post it.
Jamie.
I'll tell you what. I will post the two photos on my page this evening.
You go post them on YouTube?
Yeah,
Post them on YouTube for
yeah. I'll
those
put them
that
in
are
my
subscribed
community.
over there.
Yeah,
They
I'll
go
put them
see the
in the
truth
community
here.
chat. Yeah, I'll put them
Yeah,
up in the
and put a
community
little
page.
caption and say, "Is this the same fish or these different fish here?"
Yeah, I'll put them on the. I'll put them on the. Well, actually, I got a photo of them in the. Actually, in the cooler. Both of them together. Yeah, so I'll just post that photo.
Because Jack, he's got a nickname for you when it comes to fishing. You want to know what it is?
What's that?
Bait waster. He
Shit.
says every time you cast it out, the bait goes flying off.
No, that wasn't. See, that was the thing that he thought because we couldn't. You can't put them in pantyhose and shit no more. You just have to hook the damn liver to the hook.
Okay. Well,
It's illegal to
so
put them in pantyhose anymore. They
I'm
changed
gonna
the
hold you
law.
to it. I want to see that photo evidence because I'm gonna go in and
I will.
investigate.
I'll put it on there. I'll put it on there as soon as we get off here.
Look, Florida man
Yeah,
says
I'll
that the
upload
catfish is a psyop.
it.
You working for the man, Jamie. Something's going on because I'm telling you
No.
now. I'll be honest with you. If they're two different fish, I would never forget where this place was at. Not even at night.
Yeah,
I
it was
might
two
forget
different
my
fish.
anniversary. I might forget where I proposed to somebody, but I ain't never forgetting this fishing hole, Jamie.
But yeah,
Something,
no,
something
that was
shall we say,
definitely.
smells fishy.
Yeah, it was definitely two different fish.
Okay. Um, so a lot of people in here may not know you. Your political affiliation is basically us versus them.
Yep,
Explain.
it is.
You think they're all liars, all politicians?
Every last one of them, they're all crooks.
So you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, you're a realist.
Nope. Yeah, I'm just me.
How'd you come to that conclusion, Jamie?
Years ago, when I was like, back in probably when we first started, like probably high school, back when we were freshmen. Because if you remember, I was telling you back then that the government ain't for us. They for whoever they want to get, but it ain't for us.
Was it
It's to
Bill
grease
Clinton
their
and that
pocket.
Monica chick? Is that what
Just
did it, or
oh,
him? You got
do
offended
who?
because he's smoking weed in the White House, and it wasn't you?
No, no, no. It wasn't that. You could just see it. Like I've seen it how they do since I was way back then. Like I was just watching how Congress and all of them do. They only pass the laws that if you think about it, and if you look back in history, they only pass laws that benefit them. They don't benefit nobody else. They give themselves raises whenever they want to. You see what I'm saying? And they've done that forever. Like even back when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I can remember Congress giving themselves raises just because
Oh,
they
that's
thought
true.
they
Yeah.
wanted to. And then if you think about it, they got all those lobbyists up there. Well, what do the lobbyists do? They grease their palm to say, hey, if you help us with this much, then I'll give you this much.
Right.
See what I'm saying? I've seen all of this shit since I was like little. And that's what
So
turned me against the government because
what I'm gonna do?
it's for them. It's all for them and none for all.
Dirt
If you
track,
get
you
my
really
name,
don't. You really don't. I want to see a picture of you guys in high school. I weighed about 100 pounds soaking wet, which is not
hey,
good when you're 6'4". And James,
bro.
who didn't give a crap, he would just tell teachers off and sleep in class. He would you would see him carrying all the school books under his arm because he didn't have a locker. Like they didn't even
Yeah,
assign him a locker. They trying to get
I
him
just
quit
never
school.
took the time to get a locker and after ninth grade. Now in ninth
What I'm
grade,
gonna
I had
do?
a locker,
These
and I
people have
actually went to
braved
school.
this the conversation and stuff, and it's kind of out of the blue. I'm gonna go ahead and give 5 random subscriptions here. Phil
Yeah,
R. Let me see here. Dave Collier, Dirt Track, Lauren Price, and Jacqueline. Thank you very much. And here's something else I'm gonna do, Jamie.
yeah,
When I'm going on record to say it now, when
yeah.
you hit 1,000 subscribers on your channel,
Right.
we're going on a camping trip, and I'm gonna pay for the
Ooh.
camping trip out of my own pocket, and we're gonna
Okay.
live stream it from your channel because you'll be able to
Okay.
live stream a lot at that point in time.
Sounds good.
Um,
I got a
but
laptop we can take.
okay, you talking about a laptop computer, not a girl
Yeah.
up here or something. I never
No,
know with
no,
you.
laptop computer. Yeah. An actual,
Uh,
one with the keyboard and the screen.
yeah, and
Not
and
the
we'll
movie and
yeah.
the
Yeah, you got to clarify this stuff. We will live stream from the camp out that we put together. When you hit 1,000, we'll do it from your channel. That way, people
Okay.
that are subscribed over there will see it all.
Yeah. Hey,
We'll give them a tour and stuff like
bro, I'm
this.
ready to go camping anyway.
I am too, man. But I would like to get you to 1,000 before we do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 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 definitely.
Or
Me
at
too.
least 500. I mean, we got to get you to 500. You're almost there anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Jamie,
close to 500. That would
this
get me.
solar eclipse hysteria. All these people
Oh my
freaking
God.
out about this total solar eclipse. Where do you stand on that, brother?
Me?
Mm.
I don't really. I'm not really freaking out about it because I don't think it's the last one we're gonna see. A lot of people are saying what they're looking at is, oh God, it's the end times. This is going to be the last, hurrah, because they thinking, they've read that in Revelations and stuff, but I'm just not sure that we're right there yet. We're close, but I don't think we're at that. that juncture.
So you think that it's just going to come and go without too much chaos happening?
This one, yeah. Now, in September, who knows?
What's happening in September?
Well, you know what I mean. Like in a few months, who knows what'll happen after that?
Oh,
but
I got you.
yeah, but I feel like we're gonna get out of this without a hitch in a way. But then we're gonna have some weird ass shit pop up eventually. We always
I believe
do.
so. I'm going to put you on the spot. We'll close down with this one, brother. I'm going to put you
All
on the
right.
spot with this one. And I want you to explain your answer, okay? Because it's yes or no, but explain. Have we ever been to the moon? Hey, man.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like
That's a
that
good
scene from
conspiracy
Friday where
theory.
they're talking about, well, you think we ever been to the moon?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. What kind of
Yeah.
fence riding is that?
No, hear me out. Hold on. Hear me out. Listen
Oh,
to
I'm
me.
here.
All right. The reason I say yes and no, I'm going to say in 1969, no, we didn't make it to the moon. We staged all that shit just so we would be the first to the moon, right? But we have went to the moon since.
You think so?
Yeah. I believe we've been to the moon, but I don't think they did it then. Because look how fast that was. And
I
we
don't
didn't
think
even
we've
have a
been to the
space
moon, Jamie.
program. Think about it.
I-
We didn't even have a space program back then until the Russians started saying, well, we're going to the moon. Then all of a
Biblically,
sudden,
I don't think you can go to the moon, number one. Number two, I think the space program is just funneling money. I think
well,
it's just
that's a
trying to
possibility too,
funnel money.
because like I said, I don't really honestly think that they honestly went to the moon in the 1960s. I really don't, because we didn't really have, NASA had just started not too long before that.
That's
If you
true.
think about it, or they didn't even have NASA then. And then all of a sudden, when they said that they were going to take Sputnik, the rocket ship or whatever, and go to the moon, when Russia said that, what did the Americans say? All of a sudden, you have JFK or Kennedy on the TV saying, "Well, we're going to the moon," and
Yeah,
then
I've
what
always
was it?
I've always found it
Five
odd,
years
man.
later, they were supposedly going to the moon, and then we get this video from out of nowhere that shows these dudes hopping around on shit, supposedly the moon.
I can take this computer right now in 2024 and I can go to the other side of the house and the Wi-Fi drops. It won't connect. But back in
That's
the
weird.
60s, somehow we were able to communicate over millions of miles. They didn't even have
Yeah,
color TV yet, bro. And they were
right.
communicating. Like,
It's
really,
bad.
man? I don't think the
Now,
technology was there.
think about that. But yet they were talking to him.
Yeah.
And all they
So,
had back then,
based,
you
based
think
on the
about
chat over
it.
here, it's going to be
If,
interesting reading the replay crowd comments. Go ahead,
right.
Jamie.
If you think about this, dude, back in 1969, what was the highest technology they had to do that kind of stuff with, besides the telephone? CBs. Now, how far is that going to reach?
I don't
You know what I'm
know.
saying? Without a huge ass antenna, how far is that going to go? Maybe a
The
mile, 2 miles, at the
Yeah,
most, maybe 10
technology
miles.
just wasn't there. I think the
Yeah.
technology is there now, but I don't know. I don't know that we can do it, man. The Bible specifically mentions a firmament. I don't
We
think that
didn't even
we're
have
meant to go.
satellites then, dude. Like for TV satellites and stuff, we didn't even have them then. So how the hell were they broadcasting that shit?
I mean, it's so old. The Dallas Cowboys were still relevant, Jamie.
Actually, the Dallas Cowboys wasn't relevant until 1963.
Well, whatever.
That's when they come in the league. They were in expansion
Yeah.
in '63. So see, that's what I'm saying. And you got JFK on the TV hollering, "We're going to the moon," and then what was it, like 68, 69? They were going to the moon.
Yeah. And the fact that the entire crew, other than Buzz Aldrin, burned up in a training accident just prior to
Supposedly,
the
yeah.
going. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's kind of like,
yeah.
we need
Yeah.
all of you to lie about this. He's willing to lie, nobody else is, so it
Yeah.
is what it
And
is.
then all of a
Grace
sudden,
Hill Granny. Grace Hill Granny, that's interesting.
rocket.
Rockets are launching during the eclipse. I have no idea. I hadn't heard about that.
No, I didn't hear about that either. The hell are they launching rockets for?
I think as we get closer to this total eclipse, you're going to hear more and more and more about it. You know,
Yeah.
more speculation, and I think it's just going to come and go, and there's going to be very little to it. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion, though.
That's my opinion too. I think we're gonna hear a lot of rumbling at the beginning of it, or right before it gets here, and then once it gets here, everybody's gonna be like running around like chickens with their heads cut off, going, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?" And then once it's done, they're gonna be like, "Well, that didn't do nothing." And then there's gonna be all these wild like conspiracy theories that'll come up pretty soon too. Once it all ends, they'll be like, "Oh,
So,
there was like 500,000 people just disappeared."
so Jamie, I fully expect to see those pictures posted on your community
It will be.
tab over on your channel because,
Yep.
listen, you
I
owe
have them
that
on my
much to
phone.
me because I'm going to have to go through the comment section when this is over. Not the live chat, but I'm going to have to go back through the comment section, the replay crowd.
Yeah.
Bro, they're going to be some scathing comments, I can promise you. John, you
Oh,
believe
I'm sure.
this? You believe this? Hey, I'm just open minded,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
but I'm gonna have to it's
There
not
is
gonna be
gonna be a
fun,
lot
Jamie.
of it, but there is a lot of people that are into the stuff that like that too.
Yeah.
Like the Native Americans or the Native American folklores and the Bigfoots, the Wendigos and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Over there, if I was to give you any advice, mix it up. Touch
Yeah.
on
I
everything a
plan
little
to.
bit, man, because
Oh yeah.
I know you're
I plan
passionate
to.
about all of
Well,
it.
see, I try to give I also try to give like a little bit of history of the tribes too when I do like delve into that. Like I've got two of them on my. I think I got two of them on my page now. One of them's like uh the Sioux, and then the other one's like the Cherokee. If you listen to both of those, it's got it tells a little history on both of them. Plus, it gives a little bit of the backstory of like how they're involved with Bigfoot and all that too.
And the other thing I would say is mark the videos clearly because some
Yeah,
people might be into the paranormal or they might not be into the paranormal, but they might be into the Native
yeah,
American stuff. This way they're
yeah.
not accidentally clicking something. They're going to be pissed about it.
Right,
Just mark it
right.
clearly. But I
Oh
want to
yeah.
see those receipts about them fish, man. Don't make me get
I
waddling
got
over here
you. Yeah,
to get
don't
the
worry, I
real
got you.
truth.
Yeah, I'll post them as soon as we get off here. I'll have to go through my photos to find them, but yeah,
You're fine, man.
but they're
All
there.
right. Anybody that's interested in Caveman James, his link is down below. It's also
Yes,
pinned to
please
the.
subscribe and
Please
like any
subscribe. He's
video
trying
you
to get to
watch.
500.
I'm just
We're
trying
trying
to,
to have a camping trip.
that's it. I'm just trying to yeah, I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut.
All righty then. Y'all take care. God bless.
Hey.